evening and welcome to another episode of the Star Wars Minute. It's your daily podcast in which we analyze, we scrutinize, and yes, we celebrate the rise of Skywalker, 1 minute at a time. I'm Alex Robinson from alexrobinson.fun.
I'm Pete the Retailer from PeteTheRetailer.com.
And I am Chris Eliopoulos from Chris Eliopoulos, spelled like it sounds.com.
Welcome back, Chris, our second All-Star. Well, technically our fourth All-Star because we had three the other day.
Three and one yesterday.
Yeah.
But that was a bit of a traffic jam. But yes.
Yes.
Welcome
glad
back.
to have you back.
Thanks.
Chris.
Always good to be here.
Today we're talking about minute 27. Minute 27 for those of you keeping score at home. It starts off with Lando confirming with Poe that of course they're trying to get to Exegol. And it ends a minute later with Lando telling Rey that his flying days, long gone. Long gone? Long gone. Not long done, long gone. And
long gone.
So there we go.
He's an alien on another planet, long gone.
Right, long gone. The bounty hunter? Yeah, poor Lando. He's so happy to see them, and they're like, hey, we're trying to find a Sith thing. He's like, oh, of course you are. Okay. It's like, you know.
That snake
it's like
to talk to.
Your friend called and was like, hey, I haven't talked to you in a bit, but he needs help moving or something like that. It's like, oh.
Yeah, it's always that. Yeah. I need a ride to the airport. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Poor guy. What's he doing there, by the way?
I think he's just at the party, right?
Is it like Boca for him? Is he just retired there?
Yeah, maybe, because I guess later on he'll reveal that him and Luke came to this planet looking for Ochi of Bestoon, and I guess he liked it so much he just said, "Hey, I'm gonna." It's like when you go on vacation and you're like, you know what, we should move here. That's what he did. He didn't realize the festival was only once every 42 years.
Well, I'm sure they came there a while ago, and then everybody was like, "Oh, you should totally come back for the festival in 30 years." You know, and it was like,
31
right,
years.
Yeah. So I guess we'll come back later. And then he came back and he's just been hanging out there because it seems like a fun place for him.
Do you think tickets go on sale immediately after the end of the festival? Do they start selling the next ones, or do they have to wait?
Is it a year before? So 40. That's why maybe it's 42 years. You have to get 2 years to get your tickets,
or is it generational season tickets? Like they have like a personal seat license thing for the sports teams, where it's like you have to, okay, your family has or in the town that I grew up in, which is by the beach, there were to get a mooring, to get a buoy that you could anchor your boat to. There were people who were waiting in line for generations to get when one opens up. So
a buoy.
Maybe it's that kind of a thing. A buoy.
Yeah.
A buoy. It's like Baba Buoy.
So they're having this whole conversation. Yes, go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask if it was really Ochi of Bestoon or Lobot of Bespin.
Oh, you think there's a connection there?
Well, look at him. He's got the thing wrapped around his head, and he sort of has that similar look. I wonder if he went to the bad side.
Oh, Ochi or Lobot?
Well, Lobot went to the bad side, turned into Ochi. They cut his eyes out and gave him big black eyes, and just.
Do we know canonically what Lobot's fate was? Do we ever see him? Does he ever pass away? I guess he could still be alive at this time.
They might have talked about that in the comics. I know they originally, in the Marvel comics, he was the original Marvel comics. He was there for a bit, and then they went back to Bespin, and there's that awesome cover. I think it's a Walt Simonson cover, even where he's fighting with Lando on the precipice of Cloud City, but. I don't know.
Those are canon, right? Like the comics are canon now?
The new ones are.
Yeah.
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 Oh, that's right. You guys are canon. I forgot.
Yeah.
Squeaked in.
Yes. Yeah, you're in.
So, well, speaking of Ochi of Bestoon, why don't we talk about him a little bit, since he's already come up. He does play a big part in the Darth Vader comics. He basically becomes Darth Vader's sidekick. During that series takes place between Empire and Jedi, and that's when Vader's hanging out with Ochi of Bestoon a lot, and they're a good comedy duo because Ochi's kind of a snarky wise guy, and Darth Vader, of course, is a humorless jerk. So they're like a kind of Felix and Oscar kind of thing going on over there. People still get that reference, Felix and Oscar?
Felix's wife kicked him out of his.
I'm picturing
the opening goes, but
Darth Vader picking up a cigar butt with his lightsaber.
boom, ba-dun-da-dun.
Ochi of Bestoon did fight in the Clone Wars, so hopefully I'm sure there'll be a whole story about that revealed at some point.
Wars?
And
yeah, I did. What's up? That's my Ochi voice. I don't know if that's
who do you picture doing the voice in the?
Well, since we said Odd Couple, I'm trying to go for that kind of gruff,
Jack Klugman kind of,
Yeah, kind of, yeah. In that zone, Jack Klugman, Walter Matthau type, not exactly 1-to-1, but like hey, what's going on?
Now you sound like Watto.
Yeah, it turned into Watto. Sorry.
Real quick.
Sorry, everybody. Sorry, Griffin.
Ochi of Bestoon also got around. He also worked for Lady Kira. So that's another crossover event. And Crimson Dawn. Of course, he's like a bounty hunter. So, of course, he's... Actually, I think technically he is an assassin, Ochi of Bestoon. Seems kind of like a fine differential.
It's a fine
there.
line. Yeah.
We
it's
all
like
know each other in this galaxy, don't we?
Yeah, everybody's connected. It's like a difference between a pirate and a privateer, right? As a bounty hunter and a
privateer is if you
mercenary, assassin, whatever. It's like,
I'm
not a bounty hunter.
You're a pirate. That's how that works.
Right. That's your best-selling self-help book.
Yes, exactly. So Ochi of Bestoon went to Exegol with Darth Vader, so he got there before any of our heroes did. And speaking of our heroes, Ochi of Bestoon, his most prominent person he assassinated, the parents of Rey. So,
right.
So Rey doesn't even realize that this person that they're talking about is the person who killed her parents, presumably one of whom was Palpatine's son. Or clone, or however that wound up shaking out. So,
she will start to have an inkling about that soon, but it's on the horizon. I'm having an inkling that she's going to have an inkling.
You know what? I have a feeling your inkling about her inkling might be correct. We'll see. And finally, my last note about Ochi of Bestoon, his design was one of the original Boolio candidates. Well, when they were designing Boolio, they're like, and they said, let's get that, they do that a lot in Star Wars, recycle cool designs and stuff for other people. But anyway, we'll see more of Ochi of Bestoon, or at least a little bit more later on. But
I will say I feel a little bit like Lando right now. Like I'm just here for a minute and I'm done. I feel like this is like the Star Wars Variety Hour, with guest star Lando, like they show him in the beginning of the episode, and then he appears for like a minute, and then that's all you get.
Yeah, and I feel like later we see the Ewoks for like 1 second too. Like we see the Ewoks for 1 minute, not even a minute, like just one cutaway and stuff. So, yeah, well, it is a curtain call movie, I guess. You want to pack in as many people.
Get everybody in there.
Yeah,
it does feel like fan service, does it not?
One person's fan service is the other person's nice deep cut.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't want to go too far ahead, but like, what does he really do here other than going, yeah, that guy was here, we came to see him? I mean, later on, there's sort of a thing that he does, but it's off screen.
Right.
But I mean, is he really fully necessary to this whole thing?
So you're saying if you were done it, you would have not included Lando in it. You would have said, Lando, hit the bricks. Hit the space bricks.
Well, other than just sort of pushing them a little forward. By the way, does he not recognize C-3PO? Like, is because he's not in pieces? Like,
it could be, yeah.
It's true.
He's not on Chewie's back. It doesn't,
Yeah, that's funny. He does not acknowledge him. I think that's he's kind of like Han, where he's like, or Han, depending on your point of view. He kind of really doesn't pay attention to droids and stuff, or certainly consider them worthy of saying hello to. It'd be like saying hello to someone's Roomba when you came in.
You don't say hi.
Like, why? Are you,
Yeah,
why are you saying hello to the Roomba?
And it does seem like he's very vague. He's not, like you just said, Chris. He's not super. Doesn't do much. He just basically says, we were here and we were looking for Ochi of Bestoon was carrying a clue that could lead to the Wayfinder. He's not even helping that much. He's just like, we were looking for this guy. We didn't find him, But
Yeah.
he was carrying a clue. He wasn't carrying the Wayfinder. He was carrying a clue that could lead to the Wayfinder. Like, it's so,
Yeah.
it's just like he's just like blowing at them to push them in the right direction, not even pushing them, not
And then
even
Rey,
guiding them.
Rey is like Rick Ollieing the place up too, right? Isn't she just like, that's what we're looking for? Oh, that's
Yeah.
It's like, okay, thanks, Captain Obvious, we got it.
She is very excitable.
Yes, she's in the mood. So.
Yeah, it's strange that Ochi doesn't have the Wayfinder. He has how did they knew he had a clue? That's such a weird thing to. I'm going to find him because I know he has a clue. Like, not he has information about it. He has a clue. You know what I mean? It's a weird way to phrase it. Like
Well, I
they
think
know it's a mystery, so they're like, oh, let's gather the clues together. It's a not
Mystery
anyway.
box.
Yeah.
It's like Columbo. It's like one last thing.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
See,
He
back to
ships
the
out there.
cigars.
Yeah. Which, by the way, do these guys have like a space GPS? Because he does say it's out past Lurch Canyon.
Lurch Canyon, yeah.
I've never been here before. Like, how would I know where to go? Like, do they carry like little things? That go, oh, it's over here. It's 2 miles down. Make a right.
Maybe when they got into the festival, they got a little like printed out map thing. It's
Paper
like, you are
map.
here are the bathrums.
Yeah.
It's like
Here's
Disney World.
the,
You just get the map and
Right.
Yeah.
Here's the main stage. Here's the side stage.
Do they have a side stage? Is this like what's that
Burning
wonderful Burning Man? Maybe, I don't know. Like, do they have like little acts that go on the side? Because that thing, it could be that maybe that. What is that little thing they're sitting on? Is it like sort of like the transport to carry stuff to stage? Like, is the
thing that they're in is we talked about this yesterday a little bit. It's
Treadable. The Treadable.
Treadable. It's a delicious Treadable, and it's basically like halfway between it's like a bus meets like an ice cream truck in a sense. It's like
a food cart.
It's like a general store in a bus, so you can get on and be like, oh hey, I'm going down to Lurch Canyon, and while you're in there, you can also buy some gear and stuff.
Chewie makes also something
ice
if you
cream.
didn't catch.
They might have ice cream.
I don't know if you
Chewie
caught
what?
Chewie knocked something off, so he's probably stealing something at the end. If you look, as Rey's going like, we could use a pilot, he knocks something and it falls off. So he's like,
oh, you think it's a misdirection?
He's ripping people off.
Yeah. Classic.
Yeah.
Wookiee.
Yeah.
The Treadable is much quieter and a smoother ride inside than I would have expected looking at it from the outside.
Yeah.
Like, you'd expect that thing to be really loud inside. It's basically you're inside a tank tread, but pretty smooth, which I guess from Lando, what else should we expect other than a smooth ride?
Smooth.
First up, he was like, all right, let's get some suspension and let's get some baffles and let's make this the smooth ride.
Yeah.
You would expect some like special lighting or something in there just to sort of jazz it up. And
it is, I mean, perfect. J.J. Abrams, this is like the pinnacle of the J.J. stuff. Thank goodness Radke's not here, because this is, you get, literally you're in a box learning about clues. So it's a mystery box, and because of the windows up front, there's lens flare. So it's a mystery box with lens flare. This is the most J.J. Abrams set in the whole thing.
Yeah. No red mystery, no like red goo or red. He uses red a lot, right? Doesn't he?
Yeah.
Right. The lens flare, when Lando says the line about of course you are, when they say we're looking for the Wayfinder, and he says of course you are, the lens flare activates right at that point, and the one of the, I don't know what the term is, like one of the light beams from the thing goes like right across Lando's eyes, and he looks just like the Vince McMahon meme he looks like the super excited Vince McMahon meme, because his eyes are covered in like red lasers. So check that out, everybody.
Well, A, there's your red, and B, you know what they call a beam of light?
What?
A ray.
Oh, I see.
There
what
you
did
go.
There. Nice.
Boy.
Ray is opening his eyes. I don't know.
Oh boy.
They should have had a character named Lens Flare. Like
the bounty hunter.
Yeah,
we'll just use that.
He just keeps showing up all the time.
It's Flare.
Yes.
Does anybody have a good feeling in Star Wars? Ever?
Han Solo did once.
Oh yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah.
After that, he learned his lesson.
Yep. Well, we got our moment, right? This is it was like double fan service. It's like you get Lando and you get the line that everybody uses in every single movie.
When they are writing that in the script, do you think they think people in the theater are going to like cheer or go yay or make some like are they?
I think everybody just looks at each other and nods, right?
Everyone goes like, okay, does the checklist, like
we got it,
yeah.
Also, I feel like they're like, this is their chance. They're like, oh, I'm writing a Star Wars thing. I get to throw in, I've got a bad feeling about this.
Right. Like if you're writing Fantastic Four, it's always clobbering time, right? I mean,
right. Yeah.
You've got to get that line in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I know Ryan
do you think
Johnson tried
do you think the writer was just like, with like typing away, just all giddy when he's writing that line? And
it must be tough to know where to put it because they get into a lot of bad situations. So there's probably a lot of times where you could say, I got a bad feeling about this. So they really have to pick their, maybe that was one of them. Right. Maybe that was Billy D. Williams in his writer. He's like, I'll do the movie, but I have to be the one to say I have a bad feeling about this. So, anyway.
I'm wondering if like each time you do a Star Wars, they bring you like a box of the things like, okay, like we talked about like the meetings that they had where like they had the basic plot points that they had to hit. They weren't too hands-on as far as like the details of what had to happen, but they're like, okay, well, here's major kind of plot tie-throughs that we have to have. Ray has to do this, these, and but do you think they also have a little box of like, okay, like it's like a menu. It's just like, okay, pick 4 of these out of these 12, and it's like bad feeling about this, hand chopped off, all the different things.
Right.
What are these?
Right.
The Falcon being chased through tunnels by TIE
and
fighters.
Stalling. Yeah, Falcon stalling.
Falcon breaking
the
down.
Wilhelm scream, like all the different. It was like, okay, pick.
Yeah.
I'll take these 4.
Well, at this point, I think they were just throwing everything in, right? I mean,
right.
Yeah,
this was
last
like
chance.
This is it. We got to get it all in. Yeah.
Well, we get to see Lando's wrist communicator. Lando, a big fan of the wrist communicators. They're a nice close up of it too. I was trying to figure out what it was in real life. Like, it's not a lady's razor. It's not a piece of stereo equipment.
This is the first time that I realized that this is the very same one that he's wearing on Bespin.
Is it really?
It's his wrist link. It's called. That's the official name for it. Is a wrist link.
Wrist link brand communicator.
Yes, which he got from the World Wrist Link Federation.
Really?
Sorry. I'm here till Halloween, everyone.
Yeah. Please don't stay till Halloween. Just you can leave now.
But yeah, it's the exact same one, or at least a reproduction of that. So it's kind of neat. Like, if it's a utilitarian thing, it doesn't make that much sense. But if it's a style thing, if it's just he feels comfortable with that. Like it's in our world of technology, we've used the analogy of like imagine if we saw you and then 30, 40 years later we see you again and you've got the same phone. That's ridiculous. But there are absolutely people who have had the same watch their whole life or other kind of more and outside of our super disposable capitalist society, there's other obviously things might be built to last more and
I mean, look at R2-D2's been around for R2's been around for like 100 years, on screen. So, and he's been through some rough stuff too.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Did he use that to communicate with Lobot?
Yeah. There you go. So maybe he knows that Lobot is Ochi, and he brought it because he's trying to signal him to find where he is.
Quick, get out! The kids are here.
You're on to this, Chris. I like this.
I think at some point Lobot was at risk of passing away, and so Lando had his memories uploaded into the wrist so that Lobot would always be with him. And he lives in that wrist communicator.
So that's like his Siri. He can just tap it and be like, Lobot, what time is the Chinese place open until?
And that's why as soon as they say we're looking for the Wayfinder, Lobot instantly pulls it up so that Lando has it. Because it's weird that he goes, you're looking for the Wayfinder, Peep? I just happen to have a picture of it right here on my wrist communicator. So I'm going to attribute that one to good old Lobot for helping out.
Now play some Yacht Rock.
Right. Lobot Yacht Rock. Lobot Yacht Rock.
Wow. It's a mouthful.
Lobot Yacht Rock.
And yes, Lando reveals that him and Luke had originally came to this planet looking for Ochi of Bestoon, and it's this tantalizing glimpse of a Luke-Lando team-up that must have happened at some point. No Han Solo in that one. Han must have been taking care of the kids that day.
He was off doing married things, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, man. Why are we not writing that comic book, like, right now?
Right? The Luke and Lando adventures there?
Yeah, why hasn't that been done?
Podcast right now.
Well, I
Do you think it was
like,
just the two of them?
Yeah, I mean, how have they not done a comic on that one yet? Everybody capitalizes on every little thing for a comic or a, Where's Dave Filoni when you need him?
I would not be surprised if it was because of the controversial nature of The Rise of Skywalker. They don't want necessarily to
well, they got to they got to heat those things back up. They're like, oh, we'll throw Ochi in a bunch of the comics and get it going. And then like once people are realize that he's cool, then we'll do that story. We'll bring in the, but if we just go straight from the movie,
I don't know.
It's not going to work.
I might have to talk to my friends at Marvel and see about pitching something.
Well, we're on
and
board.
Confirming Lobot is on his wrist.
Right.
Yeah.
We got to make this stuff canon, man.
Would it be like, Jarvis, where it's like an acronym now or an initialism?
Oh God, you're gonna make me think of something acronym, on the spot, huh?
Right. Yeah. L.O.B.O.T.
Anyway, let us know.
Yeah,
let us know in the comments below what Lobot should stand for. Is it one of those things where it's L.O.B.O.T, or is it like L.O.B.O.T? You know what I mean? Like it stands for like.
I mean, if you need to, it's like a crutch. Right.
We'll have to figure it out. Yeah. But yeah, that would have been a fun adventure to watch, like Luke and Lando.
Oh, sure.
That's a great title for a show too. Luke and Lando.
Picturing like
it's like Starsky
70s
Hutch
style, like action credits.
Lando slides across the front of a speeder.
Yeah,
jumps in.
And Luke, and Luke was probably like in full-blown Jedi mode at that point, so they would have been a good, he's basically filling in for Han Solo. He's the kind of tough guy with the gun, and then Luke's the guy with the lightsaber and the...
Right, Luke. Well, Luke would be the kind of more... Luke is the Hardcastle, and Lando's the McCormick, if you will.
Can you put that in odd couple terms?
Luke is he's going to be the one who's like more serious and he's got to play by the book because he's Jedi, and he's going to be the more kind of stoic kind of like, and Lando is going to be the one who'd get his hands dirty a little bit and be more sarcastic
and get the
Lando
girls.
Lando is the Ernie to Luke's Bert.
Ernie.
Because
this is a different show, but I still like it. I still like it. Because then I backstepped a bit, and I kind of want the Bert and Ernie kind of 70s cop show too now, because that would be fun.
I mean, there's so many pairs we could go through right now. Statler
throwing a Muppet across the hood of a car is pretty fun.
Yeah, got to make this happen.
Do Statler and Waldorf have discernible personalities? Do you think
they just don't have legs?
That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's why they're trapped there in the theater, being forced to watch all these terrible.
Or maybe it's like Fode and Bede. There's like they're two parts of one body.
So Luke would be the bead, and Lando would be the whatever the other guy's name was that you just said a second ago.
Fode.
That
Luke, he's such a classic Fode.
Of course.
You took that online quiz, and it turns out you're a Fode.
I was just going to say that.
I did feel like that. So there was that moment when Rey kind of looks at Finn and like does a double take. Like, didn't that feel like very sitcom-y? He was like, "What?"
When
she kind of.
What did Finn say?
I think Lando had said something like, "Oh, we were here" or something, and she kind of looks at Finn like, "Ah!"
Right.
And if like even the camera moves and follows her to look at Finn, and you're just like, are we now like in a maybe this is a sitcom? Maybe it is.
It could be.
Very episodic.
It's Three's Company, right? I mean, it's...
Now someone, of course, is going to do an edit where they put in all the woos and the laugh track and the and those kind of 70s laugh track tropes.
It is a little... Not only did they disappoint Lando by saying like, oh yeah, hey, like we're not here to visit. We were looking for a Sith thing. He was like, oh, of course.
Yeah.
Then he tells them all about it. And he's like, yeah, we searched his ship and we found nothing. And they're like, all right, we're going to have to search it again. And he's like, come on. Like, what you don't, well, turns out they're right. But he's also just like, somebody just tells you like, oh yeah, don't worry. We searched it. There's nothing there. It's like, all right, well, we're going to need to go and search that again because like, we don't trust you.
He's my wife.
Lando is pretty old.
Yeah.
I can't find my car keys. They're not here. They're not here. And she just goes like this and picks them up like right in front of me.
There you go.
She hid them. That's why she knows where they are. She's gaslighting you.
Or she's a Sith assassin. That could also be.
Maybe.
Could be both.
Bounty hunter. Yeah, and Lando says he can't go with them because his flying days are done. And which I thought was strange. Like, first of all, when Leia sent out that distress call at the end of she got the distress call from Leia at the end of Last Jedi, and I guess he's just like, I'll respond to that later. Like, they didn't know that he wasn't like but anyway, why isn't he flying anymore? And we see that's a lie because we see him flying on later on you think he's just like retired and stuff. So yeah.
I say he's a senior citizen. He lost his license. He went back for the test.
Yeah.
His eyesight was bad. I don't know.
Probably crashed a couple of starships.
You think he lost his license? Yeah.
Don't you like at 80 have to go back and test? Right? Don't the 80-year-olds have to go back for a retest?
I'm overwhelming surprise when my mother-in-law went to. This totally sounds like my mother-in-law she went to the DMV. This is all total hack humor here. But when she moved back to California after 40 years of being in New York, and went to the DMV, and they were just like, oh well, you passed the driving test, in the 60s, so you don't have to take it again. You just have to pass the written test to get a new California license. Because she had one and it expired, she didn't have to retake the road test. She just had to take the written test again, even though like 40 years had elapsed, and B, now she's kind of 70, and it's like,
kinda
really, yeah. So I was a little bit surprised by that.
As far as I know, no place in the USA does that, right? Does driving tests for old people. It'd be an unpopular thing because old people are the only people who vote, and they're not. If you're the one who's going to rob people of their license, you're going to get voted out in the next election. So, so.
I always thought that was a thing. I always thought like at a certain age you had to go retest, and they check your eyesight, and I don't know.
They definitely do eye tests because that was. Yeah. She passed the written test but failed the vision test. She had to go back and get a new prescription. Oh. But then once she did that, then it was fine.
All right.
So maybe that's just it. They just want to make sure you can see.
Then? I mean, he's walking with a cane. Maybe his foot doesn't work the gas pedal.
But we do see him flying later, so that's all his excuse. Any physical excuse would be.
Maybe he'll only fly the Falcon.
Right.
He's like, my flying days are done unless,
I got the old hot rod.
Unless L337 is available, because then, I haven't talked to her in a while.
Oh, wow.
I miss my baby.
Yeah.
I hope things.
We don't see him fly there, right? At the end, like when he gets to meet them at the end.
No, he just kind of shows up.
He's there, right?
He's one of the 20,000 ships that show up for the.
So wait, rescue. Where is the Millennium Falcon right now?
Isn't it back on the?
Well, how did they get here? How did they get to? How did they get to Pisana?
Weren't you watching the movie?
Yeah,
that was like 3 weeks. That was like 3 weeks ago.
I think they flew the Falcon to Pisana, then they fly back. Don't they go back to the base at some point in between now and then? Right?
Yeah, they must.
But we'll have to keep an eye out.
The Falcon gets captured, right? Doesn't it get brought up?
No, that's Star Wars. But the we'll have to keep an eye on the Falcon and figure out where it's like the the thing with the which baseball hat is the ball under.
Yeah.
You know what? I think they did take the Falcon because there was that scene where Rey has a moment with Chewbacca where Chewie goes, rah, 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 and she's like, yes, I know. So I think they are in the Falcon. I think they did take the Falcon to this planet, Pisana.
Okay. And they get, so then once
even
they
though it was
leave
severely damaged by Poe's light speed skipping, it was really damaged in there. So I'm sure they, had to take some time to fix it. So,
all right.
Poor shit.
Well, anything else for minute number 27? Or Chris, anything else about the Rise of Skywalker in general? Do you have any other feelings or opinions about the film? Scenes you liked?
Did you see it in the theater?
I saw it in the theater, I think, and I saw it once when it came out on digital. Sadly, you know, it's so funny. It's like I was thinking about it, like, do I like it or hate it? And I think I realized I'm just indifferent about it, which is a weird thing to feel. I know I'm like a drug addict. I'm chasing that high of the first movie when I was like 9, and I know I'm not going to get it. And sometimes you get those little hits, like when like a character shows up like Lando or something, and I wasn't even getting it for this one. So, which is disappointing. I wanted something. I didn't get anything. It just seems such a convoluted plot. Like they were just going from here to there. Everybody has to explain everything. Like, you know, we have to go here to get this. And then once we get that, we have to go over here. And then once we do this, we can go there. And then what? And it's sort of like, I know we're in a time when it needs to be more complex. I'm so used to like Star Wars where it's just a simple good versus evil. Now it's sort of like everything is sort of grays and, you know. So
I don't think that's unique to Star Wars. I think generally in our pop culture, we're at the point where there are no villains. They're just people who were wronged and then lashed back. And now we think of them as villains, but, you know, Snow White and Cruella de Vil and Severus Snape and everyone were, you know, so, which is weird because the whole point George Lucas did it as a way of trying to purposely do a film about like good and evil and the triumph of good and stuff like that. So it's kind of like I guess it's like power creep. It inevitably will start as it gets more complex. You lose that good and evil, that binary way of
even the TV shows
Star
make
Wars
it feel like
another
that,
Star
right?
Wars.
Yeah,
for the most part, yeah.
It feels like it's sort of like even in the second movie or whatever 8, it sort of goes there's no good and evil. Everybody's just fighting. You know, we sell to everybody. And it's like so, but yeah, sad, but you know, we still have our originals.
Yeah,
I go back and watch those. I just keep going back and watching those. Old Man syndrome.
Which one have you watched? Have you watched one recently?
Well, I had to rewatch. I rewatched this one, which I had to do in pieces because I'd just be like, okay, and then pause and then walk away and come back. What have I rewatched lately? I went back and rewatched Jedi. I know it always gets a bad rap with the Ewoks, but when I was young and it came out, it ticked off every box that I wanted. So it sort of brings me back to that moment, you know.
I gotta say, I gave it a little bit of a, something I feel like I turned on Jedi and then I've come back around to it and then I'm able to experience it and have fun with it. I loved it when I was 8 and then I went through a little bit of like, I'm too cool for this. And now I'm back around to really appreciating it, even though I know it's got problems, but it's fun. Just like this. I really enjoyed this movie, even though I know it's got problems. It just takes me on a ride.
Right.
That movie's got problems.
Yeah.
Don't say anything. He's very nervous about it. He doesn't want to know what shows.
I guess that will wrap up minute 27 then. Chris, anything you want to plug? Any other anything people should keep an eye out for? What's coming down the pipeline?
Books coming out left and right. Let's see. We've got Xavier Riddle and the Secret Museum on PBS Kids. The Ordinary People Change the World books. We have Wonder Woman coming out in June. And then I've got a new book coming out, or it should be out by the time this is on. It's called A Little Emotional. Picture book for the little kids. So, Pete, if your kids like the other books, hopefully, I'll send you a copy. Make it out to them, and they can go, wait, you know somebody? Dad, you're cooler than I thought. So, yeah, busy.
Okay. Well, people should go look for those. And if you're looking to buy some other cool stuff, why not go to StarWarsMinute.com/merch. There you'll find all our cool Star Wars Minute merch, including several designs that have been deleted from our old store. And so currently the Threadless store is where it's at. So StarWarsMinute.com/merch, and we'll be back with another All-Star tomorrow on the next
Tomorrow.
Star Wars Minute.
Oh, Star Wars Minute.